Following the adaptation of author Lee Child's 1997 debut novel Killing Floor for Season 1, which established Jack Reacher's skull-crushing credentials, Prime's Reacher advances through the former military cop's extensive back history of crime-solving for its sophomore year. It's a wise decision for Reacher to take on Bad Luck and Trouble, the 11th book in the series. Not only is it one of the best storylines, but it's also the ideal method to surround Reacher with former peers who instantly support his style of vigilant justice. Reacher, Alan Ritchson, who is traveling back and forth across the country without a phone or a place to live, receives a coded emergency message through his bank account from his old teammate Francis Neagley, Maria Sten, who is making a big comeback from Season 1. Reacher returns to the 110th MP Special Investigations Unit to find out who is responsible for the deaths of his fellow U.S. Army squad members and to repay them for their help. In the first episode of Reacher Season 2, Jack Reacher starts looking into what happened after one of his former soldiers dies. Reacher and Francis Neagley, who we first met in Season 1, get back together to analyze their friend's murder, but every step of the way they encounter obstacles in their path. The first of 3 episodes, Episode 1, is all about setting the scene, and it accomplishes it quite effectively. Reacher had to use the ATM because he doesn't have enough cash when he tries to purchase some clothes at the secondhand store in Arkansas. He finds a woman who has been the victim of carjacking. By eliminating the man and averting disaster, he does what Reacher does. A body is thrown out of a helicopter in the Catskill Mountains, New York, and lands in the middle of a snowy woodland. When Reacher uses the ATM to withdraw cash after saving the day, he receives a message from his crew. He learns that Calvin Franz has been killed. Calvin Franz served in the Army. He was also one of the troops that Reacher enlisted to serve in the 110th MP Special Investigations Unit of the United States Army. Reacher is informed by Francis that Franz vanished more than a week ago after leaving his home. Days before he vanished, a few weeks prior, Franz had phoned Francis regarding a case he was working on, but she was too busy to return his call. The two attempt to get in contact with the remaining members of the squad, but are unsuccessful. When Francis and Reacher return to the hotel following a day of investigation, they discover it has been looted. They hear some noise coming from the other room and run into David O'Donnell, one of the previous members of the unit, who tells them he's gone over to the team after leaving a voicemail regarding the killing. Reacher and Francis discover an envelope containing a USB drive while sorting through Franz's mail. Nevertheless, they have just 2 minutes to input the right password when they connect the USB device to a computer. At last, they are able to access the drive by using the Reacher password. The team printed off all the data on the drive, just a list of names and numbers, after they figured out the password. They know the names and numbers signify something even though they are currently meaningless because they killed Franz. After O'Donnell points out that they need more workers, they decide to go pick up Tony Swan in Queens. When they get to his house, it appears as though no one has lived there in months. Reacher believes he is dead and learns that the Special Investigations Unit as a whole is being targeted. In Episode 2 of Reacher Season 2, an old face enters the scene to assist Reacher and the crew in figuring out who is murdering their squad. More of their pals start to die, putting the crew in a state of disarray as they try to decipher the meaning of the documents on Franz's USB. Although the second episode may seem a bit tedious at times, the deliberate and methodical progression is undoubtedly leading to a significant payout in the near future. Reacher makes the decision to confront the mysterious man who has been pursuing the team. He beats the man down and kicks the car, setting off the airbag. But they discover the man is a police officer when Francis opens his pockets. Before the officer wakes up and starts questioning them, the 3 of them leave Dodge. They encounter Carla Dixon, a different ex-member of the Special Investigations Unit, and are uncertain about what to do next. Since she was working undercover, she hadn't answered any of their calls yet, but they still used her to hire the automobile because their identities might be monitored. Seropian calls his supervisor after Russo is attacked to let him know what transpired. Reacher will be a challenge, Seropian says, and he will require support. It turns out that the man he is speaking with is policeman Shane Langston, who orders him to locate additional assistance and demands that the entire unit be killed by tomorrow. Reacher and the others go to a casino to speak with Sanchez's security supervisor. The group gathers in a suite to talk about their recent lives as Chief Wright, the head of security, works on the numbers and names they discovered on the USB. Reacher is shocked to learn that Dixon is engaged by O'Donnell, but Dixon breaks the news that she ended things. Reacher goes for a walk with Dixon after she finishes cleaning the casino tables. As they get started talking about their lives, Dixon questions Reacher about why they were never together. Reacher informs her it was because he was her employer in normal fashion. Seropian and his goons, who had been paid to assassinate the Special Investigations Unit team, were pursuing Reacher and Dixon outside the casino. This sparks a fierce altercation. Seropian and his team are defeated by the pair, who eventually kill Seropian. When Reacher searches Seropian's car, they discover a burner, and Reacher picks up the phone. Upon receiving the call, Langston informs Reacher that he is interacting with the wrong person. Reacher and Dixon go back to their lodging to tend to their injuries. After saying, "You aren't my boss anymore," Dixon and the other take a nap together. Chief Wright comes back with the data the squad needed. They don't want to hear it, though, because 2 more bodies have been found. He shows the pictures of the deceased, and it's Orozco and Sanchez, 2 more team members. In the most recent episode of Reacher Season 2, an unexpected ally aids Reacher and the group. Reacher and the group go renegade, despite his willingness to assist them, which annoys their new ally. The crew is instructed to stay put, so they go to New Age technology in an attempt to uncover proof of the person attempting to kill them. Even while Episode 3 has some great action scenes, it still feels a little bit like a filler, and is a lackluster way to wrap out the 3-part premiere. While Franz is restrained and being assaulted by his goons, Shane Langston is interrogating him. When Franz gets asked again to tell Langston what he knows, he spits blood in his face. As a result, Langston joins the battle and strikes Franz with a metal pipe. As a result, Langston is seen shoving Franz out of the chopper while still alive. After the squad returned to New York, they were stopped by an officer while driving. The man Reacher beat up in a previous episode, Russo, is seen knocking on Reacher's door and yelling at him to go. As a result, Russo places Reacher under arrest and places him in the squad car. Detective Russo takes Reacher to the station after apprehending him to inquire as to why they are attempting to obstruct a police investigation. There is a verbal brawl, but a consensus is reached over the sharing of information. Evidence was discovered by Detective Russo, connecting Azhari Mahmoud to the case. He is recognized by Interpol as a weapons broker for terrorist groups. Azhari Mahmoud also goes by the initials AM, which O'Donnell notices matches the aliases on the page on the USB drive. The crew believes they will find additional evidence concerning what happened to their team at Trevor Seropian's house after deciphering what's on the hard disk. A shootout breaks out as each member of the team engages in combat and eliminates the bad guys separately. But nothing in the house provides them with the knowledge they need to solve the case. The way that Reacher and his crew handled the situation had Detective Russo in a rage. According to Reacher, they have deduced that New Age is involved in the scheme and may be using Azhari Mahmoud. Russo says he will use the badge that one of the men at the home gave him to obtain an arrest warrant, but he cautions Reacher and the crew to remain where they are. Dixon, O'Donnell, Reacher, and Francis loot the New Age building in defiance of Russo's orders. Reacher discovers a corporate photo of all the staff members inside. Reacher gives everyone the photo after the crew makes their getaway and discovers Tony Swan was employed by New Age.